Okay, gonna get right into this discussion about the mock project. It's nothing that I came up with myself necessarily, but we're gonna go into this. So when I got the B19 Torrent, the newest one that Lego put out, it came with Obi-Wan and Asajj Ventress, and the thought was like, it's pretty cool. You got clone armor and everything, and I was thinking, it occurred to me, maybe I should do the version that has like in the Clone Wars, the original 2D cell animated one before the 3D ones came out. Right, there were a bunch of shorts, and that was a great series. I really liked that because it did what the movies didn't do, which was fill in a lot of the information for the Clone Wars, right? That they just started with Attack of the Clones, and then they ended it at the end of the war, basically in a Revenge of the Sith. And I was like, oh man, they totally bypassed and skipped right over like such an important war that there was always referred to. Anyways, so it was cool to get those shorts, and then eventually the 3D, which really expanded and fleshed out a lot of stuff, and had some spin-offs off of it. Anyways, so I wanted to do the scene where I was thinking it was always cool. I liked how in the animated series there was a battle between Obi-Wan and Dirge. He's kind of a mercenary bounty hunter. I guess he's more of a mercenary in that movie. And I forget what the name of the species is. They used him in one of the recent Jedi Star Wars games, but like he's like really difficult to defeat. He can be chopped up, and he's got tentacles, or he can just stretch and morph into different things, right? If you really wanted to, and that's what Dirge basically was. He's armored, but you get past the armor, he's still pretty tough. Anyway, so Obi-Wan's fighting him, and then we see him in clone armor with the helmet, and I was thinking that would be cool. So I think all I would need is just do a brown cape to make it really quick, and get a clone trooper and take the helmet off, and that'll be it. But then when I was just about to do that, I just looked it up online and just to refresh my memory on how he should look like, make sure I got the details covered, and it turns out that he's wearing something completely different. He's actually looking more like, hang on 1 second. Take this figure out. What the heck did I put him? Oh, here he is. Hang on. So this is part of it, and I got it from American Brick store. They have a bunch of these custom figures, and let me see. And I showed this video off earlier, but I was going to use, carefully pull them out, this Obi-Wan that they had, and this was what he should look like. And so he's got the brown robes and the cape, and he does come with the appropriate hairpiece, and as well as a natural hard cape, which you can, if you're standing, I would use this, and it's got a nice like embellishment up here by the shoulders, which you should have, which you kind of see here anyways, but it's kind of more fleshed out or more realized with this cape. But then what I wanted is to recreate the scene where, if I can show a picture of it, I remember to add it onto this video somewhere around here, like as I talk about it, like you can see that he has this armor at the beginning, but he's holding a lance on the well, I guess I didn't know what it was called at the time, but doing some research, I guess it was research has called the 105K Lancer bike. It's basically a speeder bike, but that's what they call it, and that's where I found a mock for it, like a custom Lego build by Mindbrick, I believe it is, and it's free download too, which is cool. And let me see if I can show you a picture of how it should look like around this time. And so I was thinking, well, that would be great to use that. And then, well, since I bought this, I'm not going to use this. Then, and I had bought a cape from a Mandalorian that had a brown cape. I just I was just looking around at the store to see what these figures might I can, because they didn't have a brown cape by itself, at least not a good condition, and I figured, okay, I'll get a Mandalorian, take the cape and give the rest of the Mandalorian figure to my son, which I did do, but then since I wasn't going to go with that plan anymore, but was using this, going with this, and I gave him the cape, and then I said, okay, well, I guess this will just stay the way it is. But I didn't want to waste the money, and since I was going to do this, and I was thinking of the speeder bike, it's like, well, you see them as hopefully I've shown in the picture in the video. He's with a bunch of a battalion or legion, whatever you call it, of other clone troopers on these Lancers bikes with the lance. It's called speeder bikes. They have the lance. And so at the beginning, so I figured, well, why don't I just make two of them, one for regular one holding the lance, and then another one for Obi-Wan riding. And whether he'll be holding the lance, or maybe he'll, because later on during the fight he loses that lance, and then he turns to his lightsaber, and then I might do that instead, but we'll see what I go with. Anyways, did a lot of searching at home to scrounge up as many parts as I could to make this speeder bike, but I didn't really have a lot of it, and so I ended up going back to the store that I got those figures from, this and the Mandalorian and some other parts I was kind of looking for at the time. And what was it? I got actually a good majority in here, but the rest I had to, if they weren't from where I could find at home, like just spare Lego parts, and not from that store that was called Brick by Brick Toys. It's over across the bay in I think it's considered Castro Valley, but I'm over in the Bay Area, around the San Mateo area, if you know NorCal. But anyway, so that was cool to have a close store to have to find that, and so I marked out all the pieces that I got and what else I needed, and eventually, as I collected exactly what I needed to double all the parts here to make two sets, right, to make two speeder bikes. And I highlighted, and eventually I got there, and the rest I got from Bricklink, and there wasn't too much, but there's definitely a few specialized pieces still that I needed to try to get from them. And so that is that. So I'm going to try to build that now. You see an R2 here. This is actually, I had to throw in something to just pad the order so that it would get over $20 or something like that, so that I could get the free shipping. Otherwise, I wouldn't. And I said, why not? I don't need an R2 per se. I don't think I'm trying to remember. I don't think I have an R2, but if I don't, then maybe I'll keep it. But the intent was he actually likes droids. So I might just give him this one, and then eventually I'm sure I'll have an R2 at some point of my own. But if I don't have one already, I don't know. There's so many Legos at the other house. But well, I'm just going to get into this build, and then we'll show you how it looks like at the end. So I followed, just real quickly, I got followed all the colors except for this one. I don't know. I don't think I end up getting this would be the dark blue gray. This is the light blue gray. This part joins the two struts in the front of the speeder. But from what I can tell from the reference, animated show, it wasn't that dark. It was more matching the lighter gray. So I went with that color instead, as well as this piece here that's on the, actually, since it's on the bottom of the speeder, this is where like I don't want to say the kickstand or the pedals, whatever, for the things kind of connect and come out from. This is so far on the bottom that I don't think it matters if it's not white. I got this in a light blue gray, which I think will be fine on the underside of the speeder bike. And that's pretty much only change, I think, in part colors, except for this. These are kind of hard to find in a dark blue-gray, but the closest thing I could find is like a dark gray pearl, which should suffice. These are basically going to be for the lower kickstand, or the pedals rather. Sorry, I keep saying kickstand, but you'll see once the build is done. And that's it. So I'm gonna get into it, and I'll be back either later in this video, or maybe I'll put up a part 2 where it's done.